If you've just started using the center template and you've come from the old school of web design, where you're used to doing things in a certain way, text pattern might seem like a bit of a shock, might be a bit different, and things will be in places that you might not expect them to be in. So in this movie I'm going to explain some of the reasons why text pattern is divided up in the way it is, and the differences really between having a dynamic site and having a static site. Now a static site is where you previously would have used an application like Dreamweaver, and you would have edited each one of the pages individually within Dreamweaver, and then you'd upload them via FTP to your web space, and they'd replace your existing pages. In a database-driven site, all you need to do is log in with a username and password. You don't need Dreamweaver or anything like that. Just a web browser. You just log in with your username and password, and then you can edit your pages through your web browser. But editing a page in a dynamic site and editing a page in a static program like Dreamweaver, should I say editing a static page in Dreamweaver, are different experiences, really. In something like Dreamweaver, if we were to take this page and wanted to edit it, we'd load this page into Dreamweaver and we'd probably see something like this, and we'd start typing, making our changes. Maybe we wanted to change something up here or change the header or something. We'd change it within that one page, and let's say we wanted to make the whole width bigger, we'd pull the width bigger. And then we'd either have to do this for the other pages if we wanted them to be consistent, or if we were using some Dreamweaver template, we'd go through and it would update all the other templated pages, and then we'd upload all those files to the web space. In a dynamic driven site, when you're editing a page, if we were to edit this page, it's not all coming from the same place. This page doesn't exist as a static file on the website. All that exists is this one file, and this one file is asking the database for different bits of information and is loading in different parts of the page. So if you said, I want to edit this page, well, the first thing to do is ask, well, what part of the page do you want to edit? When they want to edit a page, they just mean they want to edit the title and the content, maybe change this image. Do that. If you want to do those things, you do that under the Content tab under Articles. So if we are logged in at the moment, I can click on this Edit This Article link down the bottom here, and it will automatically open that page within text pattern, and then I'll be able to start changing the wording, changing the content, the title, putting in a new image. By the way, if you're wondering where the image is at the moment, it's actually under this Advanced Options menu. It's being referenced by a little number there. Generally, your image will be in the main body of the text, just in case you're wondering. It's just something with the core pages that I've put with the template. The image comes from this little option here. Anyway, on topic. So this data here, this title and body and so forth, is the article. This is what text pattern means when it says an article. It's sort of talking about a page, but it's talking about specific bits of a page. When you've got a new article, you've got a new page. But if we wanted to edit something else about that page, let's say the branding up here, the links up here, this menu up here, the menu on the side, or the footer. Or let's say we wanted to give the website a different background color. You wouldn't edit it through this article's page. All those elements are parts of the template that are being streamed in and requested. When you request this page, these elements, it's going to the database and saying, I want this page. And it's saying, okay, here's the page, and here's all the parts that make up the page, the extra parts, with this menu down the side, with the link highlighted of the current page that you're on. in this footer with the title of the current page you're on. If you're a bit of a geek and like to look at the actual code of the page, then you'll like this next bit. If you're not, just close your eyes and it will be over quite soon. So if I view this page source, I can actually see up here that different parts of this page are coming from the article. So like this title here, and further down here, if we go, we can find the body and various other bits. So little snippets of this, what make up this page, are coming from the article. The rest of the article, the rest of this code, all this code you see in here, is coming from a different area of TextPattern. If we go into TextPattern now, it's safe to open your eyes, by the way, and we're to go to the Presentation tab, this is where other elements of that page are coming from. They're either coming from a page template, or they're coming from a form, or in the case of the actual styling of the website, they're coming from a style sheet. TextPattern is divided up in this way to give each layer its maximum flexibility. So let's call them the content, the structure, and the presentation layer have been separated almost completely. And we can edit any one of those layers and change the rest of the pages easily. So if I was to replace the style sheet, I could completely change the presentation of this web page, positioning, the colors, the background, and so forth, the fonts used. Whereas if I wanted to change the structure of the page, say I didn't want this to be these links up here, say, I can remove them from the structure layer and it will take them away from all the other pages. Now within that structure layer there's geeky code, obviously, and some dynamic code that's automatically doing certain things. Now for the majority of you, you won't want to learn that and you won't need to learn that, but for those of you who are interested, this layer offers you a lot of flexibility in the way that your website is presented and the things that it does for you automatically. But that's for another movie anyway. So hopefully that's a bit clearer, that when you're editing a page, so to speak, you have to ask yourself, well, which part of the page do I want to edit? For which layer is it in? Is it article data, which means that it's coming from the Content Articles tab, and I'll edit it under this right tab? Is it structure of the website, such as these menus up here, which means that it's probably coming from the Pages or Forms tab, but also there is the possibility, over we looked at in the Menus movie, that you'd need to edit the Sections tab, the Navigation tab, or the Menu tab. Or is it the look of the whole website? Is it the background color, the width of the design, the fonts used? Then that's coming from the style there, and we'd need to go into and edit style sheets. One other thing, just to make it a bit more spread out, there are also a couple of divisions. If we go under the Content tab, under Categories, there are a couple of things we can change on the Categories tab and also on the Links tab that will affect what's presented, such as these menu items up here are actually coming from this Links tab. But as we go through the other videos, you'll become very familiar with where things are and also the potentiality for and possibilities that are available when you have this separation of these different things. So I'll see you in the next movies.